Good morning, guys, and welcome to the vlog. As you could well imagine, running a reptile zoo and an aquarium is a lot of work that takes a lot of people and working 7 days a week. And in that time, when you're spending all that time with people, you develop relationships and honestly become like family. So I wanted to take today to let you guys get to know a little bit more about the crew that I consider my work family.
Hi guys, my name's Amy and I've been working at the Reptarium here for about 2.5 years. I actually came to Michigan because my husband is in the military. So that's how I came to work here. I found this job on Indeed, and I'll never forget when I came for my interview, I asked Lori if it was okay if I had tattoos on my arm and if I had to cover them up. And she said, oh, that's okay. My husband has tons of tattoos. It's okay, you don't have to cover them. And then when I finally got here, I realized why she said that. And that's how I found out about this place. So I started working here as an animal educator. So I did the birthday parties and library events, all sorts of things, and I really enjoyed that. But I've worked my way up to being general manager now, and I still love my job, and I still get to spend time with my favorite guy here, Javi. My favorite animal here is Javier. As you can tell, he is really special to me because he's a rodent. I actually love rodents. I have a tattoo of a squirrel on my arm here. They just hold a special place in my heart. So Javi is my favorite because he's a rodent.
All right, so my favorite animal here is 100% Stitch. I'm obsessed with him. I also love being able to share him with guests because he's just so cool. So we'll head over there, but before we do, I just want to tell you a little bit about my hiring story because it was very different. So I met Brian and Lori and the crew at AnimalCon 1, which if you don't know, AnimalCon is the most fun ever. I was at AnimalCon because of this guy. So it was a birthday present for him. We got there, the crew was so amazing, and Brian instantly fell in love with AJ and asked if he could film with him, which was an honor. So AJ got to do a little bit of filming. Savannah invited us to Gatorland, so we got to do some filming there and go to an event that I didn't even pay for with our tickets. And then after that weekend, I kept in touch with the crew, specifically Jay, and they invited us up here to the Reptarium to film. I'm from Florida, so I asked, what's the temperature? And it was 24 degrees. And I was like, I can't do it. I don't know how to drive in snow. I don't have sweaters or anything to even wear in that temperature. So I said, can I wait a little longer until the weather warms up? Fast forward, I hung out with Jay throughout that year. We did a bunch of really cool backyard zoo type things down in Florida. Had a blast, really hit it off. And then AnimalCon 2 came around, and AJ was actually invited to be a panelist, a kid panelist, and he was gonna speak in front of hundreds of people and really just meet all of the animal influencers that we've just looked up to our whole lives, like both of us. So we went to AnimalCon 2, and at the end of that weekend, because I volunteered to help while he was on panels, the end of that weekend, I sat down with Brian and Lori and Dingo and Kirsty. We had like a big breakfast. Everybody was there. They kind of said like, Melissa, what do you do for work? And how do we get you guys? So at the time, I was a fundraiser for a nonprofit. Brian's like, hey, I'm opening this aquarium. I really could use that skill set. He also by then was diagnosed with his illness. So there was like a little bit more of like a time crunch to it. So I quit my job. And we moved from Florida to Michigan, and that's it. That's history. And now we're here. All right, so should we go meet Stitch? Let's go. Stitch is amazing. He does a lot of guest interactions all day. He smells like buttered popcorn as soon as you walk in. He's super sweet and soft. Obviously, they're a Southeast Asian species. He has this big prehensile tail. He's got really cool pads of his feet that leave like the cutest little prints ever. Pretty much he's perfect, and I can't get enough of him. Say I'm the best. I don't know how everybody just can't fall in love with that cute little face.
So this is one of my favorite animals in the entire aquarium. This is Biggie, our stars and stripes pufferfish. He came to us a couple of months ago, and he originally was in our bridge tank over there, but we kind of found that the fish in there weren't being super nice to him, so we ended up moving him over to this tank where he's doing a lot better, and he's just the best. We're getting him tong trained right now, so he's gonna be eating shrimp out of our hands, and he loves whenever we do our enrichment, we will hang like half of a frozen crab, and he'll come up there and just munch through the whole thing, keeping his beak worn down. He does have a bit of a tendency to like to chew on the coral in the tanks, which isn't exactly ideal, but we're hoping as we wear his beak down with all those different types of crabs and clams that we're giving him, we're hoping we'll wear that down and get him a little bit more ready to be in a tank with this kind of coral. Some cool things about him is he's most active during the morning and the evening, so that's why he's out and about right now. It's pretty early. He's about to get his morning meal, so he's definitely ready to go up at the top there. He loves eating. He lives up to the name Biggie. I came here a little bit earlier on, so it was before we were open. I came here this January. Before this, I worked at a local pet store called Keys Pets, where I actually met Brian. And we did a couple videos over there where we did a couple tours with him, did some fish orders unboxing, because they didn't have any fish here yet, so we wanted to work with some actual fish. And during that, we hit it off, and eventually they offered me a job over here, and I couldn't be happier. Every day working here is a dream come true.
All right, guys, so as the majority of you guys know, I had a very interesting hiring process here. Basically, the Reptarium opened about a month or two after it opened. I just started coming like as often as possible as a guest, and then one day Brian made a joke that was like, you should just get a job here. And I was like, yeah, just might as well get a job here. Problem was, him and Lori were actually going to Mexico for a couple of weeks, like right when he said that. So long story short, I blew their phones up while they were on vacation. I did not care. Then they came back and it still took a little bit of time. And then I got hired in actually like to work in the basement, cleaning ball pythons and things. And then the next thing you know, I was upstairs working with the guests. Then I started doing events. Like at the time when I got hired, we actually didn't even have like an education program. It was like just Brian and Lori doing events, which then translated to me and Brian doing events, me and Lori doing events. Then I became the education manager, which then led to Mammals, which now led to like this big, beautiful place that we have today. And that also leads me to my favorite animal that we have. Let's go see her. The thing that's like pretty unique about me is I actually never even watched the vlog. I knew who Brian Barczyk was, but I didn't really like, you know, like I loved reptiles, but like I was definitely more of a mammal person. I had snakes, but like I love my dogs, like I love all things mammals. So that was the thing that like really even drew me to wanting to work with the mammals more and more that we have here, because it was cool to have a reptile zoo, but it was like even cool to have a reptile zoo with the sloth. And now we have a reptile zoo with an aquarium plus a sloth and another sloth and an armadillo and a binturong and capybara. It's absolutely crazy to be able to like take all of the things that I loved and then just like pack them into one building. So it's pretty cool. Let's check out Lilo. Listen, don't get me wrong, guys. Alligators are probably one of my favorite animals, but I genuinely just love Lilo. Sloth by no means are my favorite animals at all, but like to be able to meet her at just like a couple days old, get her, bring her all the way up here, and now I've watched her grow into this like an amazing animal ambassador. Like nothing could beat Lilo to me. So that's why I would say she's not my absolute favorite, but definitely one of my favorites that we have here. I love you.
Hi, I'm Landon. I recently started working here at the Legacy. This job so far has been incredible, and Bowser here is one of my favorite animals I get to work with. We've taken him out one time so far for our guests since we've been here, and it was absolutely incredible. Just the power behind him is insane. One thing I love to tell guests about is how old Bowser is. A lot of guests come over here and they think he's like 30, 20 years old. He's actually 54 years old, which is just incredible. Like this animal's double my lifetime and then some. To be able to work with something like this is truly, truly incredible. It's a privilege to be able to come here every day and to see Bowser and see big giant snakes like Ivy and Blondie is really incredible. Honestly, I started watching Brian when I was just 9 years old. Watching this place grow and the Reptarium grow and me growing myself, and now working here is something that I can't even put into words. The privilege to be here and be around all these customers and to get to inspire that next generation like Brian did is honestly, there's no words for it.
So my favorite animal here between the Reptarium and the Legacy is probably Godzilla, our Sylphin dragon. I love his personality. I love how he looks. He's gonna keep getting bigger and hopefully stay as awesome as he is now. I got hired in here at the Reptarium back in October last year. I had just moved across the state from working as a gecko lead caretaker at Pangea Reptile, and I was looking to expand my knowledge, and here I am. Now I get to take care of a bunch of different monitors and crazy snakes and all sorts of cool stuff.
This is Cobra Bubbles, or Julian, depending on which staff member you ask. But this is our Amazon puffing snake, and he is a little feisty some days, and he is really, really deep in shed, so he is extra feisty today. But we talk about favorite snakes all the time here at the Rep, and favorite animals that we have. But Cobra Bubbles is definitely becoming one of my favorite animals that we work with every day. Oh God, oh God, he's gonna bite me. I don't know why. He's got a crazy personality, and he's just a really cool snake, and he's such a cool feeder and everything. I don't know, he's just one of my favorites. You know, we say that we can't ever pick a favorite, but he's definitely up there in like my top 10 that we have. So I'm gonna just say that he's one of my favorites that we have now. So we've had this guy for a long time. He's just back on display. Now, the funny thing is, when I got hired here, it was actually during COVID. It was December. It was December of 2020. And so Lori did my interview over Zoom, which was very intimidating because for many of you that know, Lori can be a little scary sometimes. So my Zoom interview was about 5 minutes long. And we just talked about, you know, my past and working with reptiles and owning reptiles for a long time. And then so I got the privilege to come here and be a zookeeper here for a while. And that was almost 5 years ago. Now that I'm the head keeper here, it's just, you know, another day. Every day is a different thing. Get to work with these beautiful, amazing creatures. And that's pretty much how I got started here.
This is Pongo. This isn't Perdita. But he kind of looks like Perdita. I'm just here in front of Pongo because Perdita's over at the Legacy and I'm at the Reptarium right now. But I want to talk about my friend, Perdita. And why is she my favorite snake? First of all, she is a reticulated python, so she's like a nice, big, impressive snake size, right? But she's also very nice. And you know, Pongo is also a very pretty snake, right? But Pongo, 9 out of 10 times when I have to go in there to clean his poo or pee or just, you know, freshen up his water, he'll try to bite me. So I really appreciate Perdita for not trying to bite me. Funny you should ask my hiring story. So I was relocating from Chicago to Detroit, and I was looking for a job relevant with the experience that I have from my educational and work background. I came across the Reptarium and I was like, whoa, the Reptarium, I know the Reptarium. I used to watch it on YouTube and I didn't even think it was in Detroit, but it was. So lo and behold, I got an interview with Lori and Brian over the phone. I was in my work truck at my previous job. They were like, yeah, come down for a working interview as an animal educator. Now, I didn't really want to be an animal educator just because my interests lie more in like working with the animals, not so much like, you know, going to schools and doing events and stuff like that and public speaking. I was like, okay, you know, I'm happy for the opportunity. I nailed the working interview. They liked me a lot. They said, yeah, come work with us. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not sure I'm ready to commit to moving to Detroit yet. I'm still here in Illinois. So fast forward a few months later, I reached out to Lori. I was like, hey, Lori, I actually am looking to come and live in Detroit. And I don't know if you have anything open, but I'm down. And she said, yeah, come here in 2 weeks. I was like, okay. And it was for a zookeeper position, which I was kind of stoked about because that's really what I wanted to do. It was kind of lucky because Mike was going to have surgery on his tonsils and they really needed somebody. So it was kind of good timing, luck. At that time especially, we didn't hire for zookeepers very often. So I just got really lucky. They just like took me in. I had to pack up from Chicago, move everything across to Detroit, sold all my stuff, and then restarted my life here and been here ever since. It's been over 3 years now, which is crazy to think about, but yeah.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I work in the office at the Legacy and Reptarium. I was hired in 2020 in the middle of COVID. My restaurant that I worked at had gotten shut down, and I have always loved working with animals and never got the chance to. So since I had all the time on my hands during COVID and the lockdown, I decided to look for something that I actually wanted to do instead of just something that made money. So I found the posting for cleaning cages at BHB, and I was so excited because I already had been to the Reptarium and knew what it was. I got a Zoom interview with Lori and I started out cleaning snake cages for the colubrids. Did that for a little while, but then ended up moving up into different positions, and now I am office manager. So I started just cleaning up snake poop. My favorite animal at the Reptarium is a black throat monitor, and I think they're just so cool. They're like living dinosaurs. What's really cool about black throat monitors is that they smell like maple syrup, which we don't know exactly why, but it's a really weird and interesting fact about them.
I really can't express to you how much my crew means to me and what a great part of my life that they have become over the years. I would never be able to do all the things that I do every single day without each and every one of them, from the ones that you saw today to the many, many others that we didn't have the time to show. And I just tell you what, I am so blessed, and I thank God every day for these wonderful people that God has brought into my life that help me do everything I need to do and to be able to share my life with you guys.
Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember, be kind to someone, and I promise I'll see you in the next one.